So when you look at the marketplace, I mean, I assume there are other people who are doing or attempting to do the stuff that you're doing, or there are similar types of solutions, but what percentage of that ecosystem of that marketplace is focusing on inference accelerators versus GPUs? That's a fair way to ask that question.
Yeah. So GPUs, I mean, it's kind of very difficult for a new entrant to come into the market at this stage, right? I mean, the GPU ecosystem has been around for decades, and obviously we have NVIDIA as a firmly entrenched GPU supplier. Yeah, just happens to be the most valuable company on the planet. That's a different story. But so I think for somebody else to come in at this stage and displace that ecosystem is going to be hard, right? So GPUs are done, right? I think really it's about inference acceleration at this point. And, obviously we are entering the age of inference now, right? For the last 10 years, most of the narrative has been around training bigger models, right? As we go into the next 10 years, it's going to be about, okay, let's learn to deploy AI. Let's get an ROI. Let's talk about efficiency. Let's talk about how do we run this stuff? How do we make it useful to people? All that good stuff is going to happen in the next 10 years, and that's all about inference. And so obviously, as inference heats up, a lot more companies are emerging. We are focused on inference in the data center. And in that segment, I think I would say, it's not like there's a whole lot of people, because it's an extremely capital-intensive place to play. So it's not like you can start a company tomorrow and raise, you'll have to raise at least $200 million before you produce any kind of product in that space, right? So it's not for the faint-hearted.
Yeah. And it's going to be a decade.
And it's going to be a decade before you really find a foothold in the market and whatnot, right? So I think it's not for the faint-hearted, and not everyone can do it. And so I think just by process of selection, that segment has less competition.